While Doctor Who may not be a horror property and instead sits solidly in the sci-fi realm, when it does occasionally swing for horror, it hits hard. Hello and welcome to Bloody Good. My name's Emily and today I want to talk you through some Doctor Who episodes to watch when you're in the mood for a scare. Doctor Who is known for its drama and its various aliens and creatures, as well as being a heartwarming show with a fair amount of lightheartedness overall. But some episodes will take a sharp turn into horror, and I'm going to pick out a few of those today and talk about why they still give me the creeps all these years later. For the purpose of clarification, I'm talking about New Who here, so when the show was reprised in 2005 with the Ninth Doctor. I haven't watched much classic Who, so I can't comment too much on scary episodes from back then, but please feel free to leave some recommendations in the comments for scary episodes from the old run if you have them. I grew up obsessed with New Who. I used to use my pocket money every week to buy the Doctor Who Adventures magazine, and I would send in photos and drawings in hopes of being featured. I never was. And here's some embarrassing pictures of me at the Doctor Who Experience in Wales back when I was 10 to show my credentials. There were a fair few episodes that scared me at the time and still creep me out now, so I'm going to tell you what I think are the 5 scariest episodes of the New Who era. I'll be brutally honest here and say I didn't watch much of 12's run, so maybe there are some scary episodes there too, but I won't be including them here since I didn't watch them. This episode is actually dedicated to a friend of mine, Lawrence, who is not a horror fan but has been watching our videos to support us anyway, which we really appreciate. So I wanted to make a video that he could enjoy and actually know what I was talking about for once, and he absolutely loves Doctor Who, so here you go, Lawrence. In spot number 5, we have a double feature with Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. This is actually one of the most vivid memories I have of watching Doctor Who as a child. I remember being really annoyed when Silence in the Library ended, and I know I had to wait a week to find out what happened next. The Vashta Nerada are such a cool and creepy concept for an alien. The Doctor describes them as piranhas of the air because they're essentially shadows that strip the flesh from the bone. When someone has been hunted by the Vashta Nerada, they are devoured, leaving only a skeleton behind. Interestingly though, the discovery of Miss Evangelista's skeleton was only added to bump up the runtime as the episode was actually running short, so I'm grateful the script was a bit too short and it meant we got this great scene. The look of a skull inside a helmet is so simple but so effective. The creepiness of noticing someone has an extra shadow and has been chosen by the Vashta Nerada as its next victim is brilliant too. Due to the nature of the characters' suits, their last moments are extended past when their flesh is gone as data ghosts, meaning we hear their last words even though they're already dead, and they repeat themselves until they're gone. I think this episode does the horror well in these quiet moments when someone will start repeating and you know what's happening to them, but you also know nothing can be done about it, you just have to listen. In the 4th spot we have Turn Left. While this episode isn't an inherently scary story with creepy aliens and whatnot, it's a tough one to watch regardless. The episode begins with Donna going to a fortune teller who finds out that Donna met the Doctor because she turned left one day, and she influences Donna to go back and turn right instead. And as she does, something crawls on Donna's back. Then Donna turns right and we enter a parallel world in which Donna never met the Doctor, and as a result the Doctor drowned on Christmas because Donna wasn't there to convince him to leave. Because the Doctor is dead, all the events of the other episodes of the show happen differently now. Russell T Davies, the showrunner and writer of this episode, said he hoped to pose the question to the viewer of, does the Doctor cause or prevent death? And was surprised by the implicit death toll he ended up with while writing this episode. With the Doctor dead, this means London is destroyed because the Doctor wasn't there to stop a replica of the Titanic falling on it, and a poisonous gas breaks out across the world because the Doctor wasn't there to stop it, and lots of other things including characters we know and love dying in these events. All these things we saw the Doctor fix in previous episodes never happened, because he's dead. A quote that has always stuck with me from this episode is, "The bees are disappearing," because I'm a huge fan of bees and their conservation, so colony collapse disorder is a big deal and an indicator that something bad is occurring. Throughout this episode, people keep looking at Donna's back horrified, but can't explain what's there when she asks. The thing on Donna's back is a time beetle, and it's feeding on the time energy of this parallel world. The beetle on Donna's back wasn't the worst thing to me as a child because I'm pretty content with bugs, but I do remember it really freaking my mum out and she had to leave the room while this episode was on. The most chilling moment in this episode, however, is when Donna and her family are sent to Leeds after the destruction of London, and after being there for a while and making friends with the people they shared a house with, those people are forced to leave, because it's now been decided that England is for the English. Rocco, putting on a brave face for Donna, tells her they're being sent to a labour camp where they'll work and it will all be okay. Donna's granddad Wilf, who is a World War II veteran, says, "Labour camps, that's what they called them last time." It's a really haunting moment and it's stuck with me throughout the years, especially now considering how modern politics seems to be going. In the 3rd spot we have the waters of Mars. The Doctor finds himself on Mars in 2059 with a crew of humans on a mission. He realises he knows this mission because the crew all died in 2059 and it was big news across space. The Doctor tries to leave because he knows he shouldn't interfere, but he has to stay because something is going wrong at the base and no one can leave. Members of the crew start to get infected by something which causes their skin to become cracked and for water to begin pouring out of them. They realise something is wrong with the water, so they can't drink it or even touch it. The thought of being trapped on this creepy base with something in the water that turns people into terrifying husks of themselves is not a lovely thought. Their eyes and creepy cracked smiles scared me quite a bit as a kid. The waterborne intelligence is known in the canon as the Flood, but any references to this in the episode were actually scrapped due to time constraints, so they remain nameless. This is also an interesting episode in terms of the characterization of the Doctor. We find him here in a time where he's feeling pretty self-righteous, having declared himself the Time Lord victorious, and he decides that he has authority over time itself. So by the end of the episode, he decides it's his right to save some of the crew and change the course of history. He declares Adelaide as an important figure he saved and regards the other crew as being little people. Adelaide is horrified by this arrogance and tells him he's completely wrong. She goes into her house and she kills herself, correcting the timeline somewhat. The Doctor then realises he's interfered too much and that his own death is imminent. It's a great character moment for the 10th Doctor among the backdrop of this creepy story. Just narrowly missing the top spot is Blink. This was such a tough call for me between this and our top spot. Blink is probably my favourite episode of Doctor Who overall, apart from maybe Vincent and the Doctor, purely because I'm just a huge Van Gogh fan. But my god, does Blink just captivate me. And I'm not alone. As it stands on IMDb right now, Blink has a rating of 9.8, the highest in the show. The Weeping Angels are up there in terms of the creepiest Doctor Who creatures, and this episode is them at their best. I think they suffer a little bit later in the show and aren't used to their full potential, but here in their first appearance, they are incredible. It's also incredible that the angels are portrayed by real actresses covered in makeup and prosthetics, including fiberglass dresses. Some digital effects were used in post-production to ensure the stillness was there, because it's obviously very hard to stay completely frozen for that long. The angels can only move when they're not being perceived, so you have to stare at them unblinking to survive. So we get to see them moving when characters don't notice them yet, and we just have to anticipate what happens to them when they're caught. And it's a horrible notion that you're just zapped sometime in the past. Sally's friend is with her 1 minute, and the next Sally is receiving a letter from her explaining the life she's lived, delivered by her own grandson. Sally speaks to a detective who asks her out on a date and is then zapped back to the 60s by the angels. He finds the Doctor, who tells him to pass on a message. Sally meets up with him on the same day, and now he's old and dying. A lovely but haunting quote from this episode is him saying, "It was raining when we met," and Sally replying, "It's the same rain." I think what adds to the scares in this episode is the fact that the Doctor isn't there to help. He only appears in a video warning about the angels, and very briefly in person to the detective in the middle of the story and to Sally herself right at the end. So we spend the majority of the episode with Sally, who is brilliantly played by Carey Mulligan as she battles with the Weeping Angels. We have to watch knowing the Doctor isn't there to help her against them. It's just an utterly brilliant episode. But before I tell you what I think is the scariest episode, I want to throw some honourable mentions out there. And also, while I've got you, why not consider subscribing or checking out our membership options? But let's get back to it. The Girl in the Fireplace isn't an inherently scary episode in and of itself, but the designs of the clockwork droids creeped me out as a kid, especially the scene where the Doctor is trying to identify where the ticking noise is coming from and suggests it's something human-sized in the room. And that realization dawning is just brilliant. I also have a double feature with The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. I think the Silents are one of the scariest aliens in all of Doctor Who, both visually and conceptually. Not remembering you've seen them as soon as you look away from them is such a cool idea. The episodes aren't that scary overall, but the alien concept is enough to put them in an honourable mention slot. Similarly, I've got The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances double feature. That kid with the gas mask still gives me the creeps to this day, and it just makes my skin crawl. And when the transformation occurs, it's just awful. My dad has told me that this episode scared the crap out of me as a kid, and can you blame me? Whenever I see a gas mask in a museum or just anywhere in media really, my first thought is always, "Are you my mummy?" And my last honourable mention is The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit double feature. The Ood are one of my favourite aliens in the Doctor Who franchise. I love their design and how sweet they are, but they're not in this episode. They're really freaky with the red eyes. I think the weakest part of the episodes is the devil, funnily enough. But the way the researcher gets corrupted and goes on to turn the Ood murderous is really scary. These episodes also make great use of classic horror things like jump scares and twists, and are a genuinely chilling piece of television, and they just narrowly missed my top 5. But my top spot has to go to Midnight. The Doctor and Donna are on the leisure planet Midnight, and the Doctor takes a trip on a shuttle bus to see the Sapphire Waterfall. However, on this journey, the shuttle breaks down and knocking is heard outside, despite the fact that the atmosphere on Midnight means nothing can survive out there. The knocking moves around the shuttle and it stops, but we find out this mysterious and unseen entity is now inside the shuttle and possessing one of the passengers, Skye. Leslie Sharp gives a phenomenal performance here as Skye. The entity possessing her repeats what all the other passengers are saying, which freaks them out. She then starts speaking at the same time as everyone, which freaks them out even more. It's such a captivating performance from Leslie Sharp. Her mannerisms as she speaks along with everyone is really, really creepy. The scares here also come from the paranoia that sets in the shuttle. Everyone is arguing about what they should do and if they should throw Skye off the shuttle before she infects someone else with whatever she has. Everyone is so quick to argue and turn on each other, and they start to blame the Doctor because they saw him talking to Skye before the shuttle broke down and before the knocking started. To add fuel to this idea, Skye starts to only repeat what the Doctor says. Interestingly, the original script had Skye repeating each passenger one by one before settling on the Doctor as the last one, but this was all scrapped due to time constraints. And I think it absolutely works though, because it ramps up the suspicion from the other characters. The Doctor tries to reason with Skye, but is horrified to find that she's now speaking his words before him. David Tennant's performance here is superb, as he's motionless and straining against something while seemingly repeating everything Skye is saying. Now the passengers are arguing about whether the Doctor is just the next victim of whatever's happening, or if he was the real problem all along. What works so well in this episode is the psychological aspect and the infighting. It takes no time and no pressure for all the passengers to be suspicious of each other and become paranoid. It's very reminiscent of John Carpenter's The Thing. I also think it works so well because we never see the entity, we only ever see the possession of Skye, so we're just left to wonder what it was and what happened. And this is one of the first episodes to explore an enemy where we never learn their true nature or species, and it just completely works. Coupled with excellent writing and brilliant performances, this episode is a standout for horror within Doctor Who, and why I picked it for number 1. And that's it. Are there any episodes you're shocked I didn't include? Are there any scary episodes from Classic Who or from the 12th Doctor's run that you think I should give a go? Let me know in the comments what episodes or creatures are the scariest to you from Doctor Who. While I've got you, I want to give a shout out to my good friend Jack, who has made some amazing art based on some of the episodes I've mentioned today, as well as some classic horror properties, including this amazing painting he did for Montgomery for his birthday. We went to school together and I always thought Jack's art was amazing, so I wanted to show some of it off today while I have your attention. If you want to check out some of his art, you can find him over on Instagram and TikTok, and links can be found down in the description. Jack has recently been making some prints of his Doctor Who work, so if you're a fan, check out his pages for more details if you're interested. I also want to give a special shout out to our members Rowan the Hero, Phantom Crow, Empty SD, Cardboard Boxo, Stephen Sprockman and Stephanie Morris. We really appreciate you guys' support. If you'd also like to support us, you could consider becoming a member for exclusive polls and posts as well as input on upcoming videos. We're trying to work on some other incentives for our members too, and at the moment our members have a discount code for Screen 13, a shop we love that sells horror themed patches. We don't get anything from your purchase with Screen 13, we just wanted to support a small business run by a horror loving couple like ourselves. So if you want to get 15% off some amazing patches, become a bloody good member, and you can get the code which expires at the end of August, so you've got to be quick. If you're a horror fan, consider subscribing and checking out our other videos. We have a series where we explore horror films that claim to be based on a true story and we see how true they really are. And my co-host Montgomery has a series where he talks about some underrated gems as well as some truly, truly terrible horror films, one of which is linked on your screen right now. In the meantime, I've been Emily, this has been Bloody Good, thank you so much for watching.